Somehow Palpatine returned. That line, that one single line, might be the most accidentally perfect summary of the entire sequel trilogy. Not just because it's vague and unearned, but because it's the default answer to everything in these movies. You could replace the entire script of Rise of Skywalker with somehow, and it would still make about the same amount of sense. You ever notice how every major moment in these movies happens off-screen or in a sentence? Somehow Rey's a Jedi. Somehow the First Order built a planet fleet. Somehow Luke just gave up on life because his nephew had one bad dream. Like, imagine if Frodo got to Mount Doom and Gandalf just showed up and said, "Don't worry, I already threw the ring in. We're good." And look, I'm not trying to nitpick just to nitpick. I love Star Wars. I want to love the sequels. But these movies feel like they were written on the back of a napkin during a layover, and everyone just said, "Fine, print it, we'll fix it in post." You can't build a legacy on vibes and mystery boxes, especially when the only thing in those boxes is more questions. The Force used to be this mystical, ancient power that took years of discipline and pain to understand. Now it's like downloading an app. You open the movie, press the Force button, and boom, you can heal wounds, summon lightsabers, and survive getting thrown off cliffs. It's not character development. It's Jedi cheat codes. But what really gets me, what really stings, is how much potential there was buried under the noise. Characters that deserved depth got reduced to catchphrases. Plot lines that should have defined a generation were tossed out for empty spectacle. It's like watching your childhood home get turned into a theme park, and somehow no one notices the foundations crumbling. In this video, we're digging into why the Star Wars sequels became the trilogy of somehow, how a billion-dollar franchise lost its way with 3 little words, and why fans still care enough to be mad about it. We'll unpack the nonsense, the shortcuts, the missed opportunities, and maybe even find a little hope buried beneath the rubble. You ever sit there watching the sequels and feel like you missed a chapter? Like you accidentally skipped a whole season of Star Wars that only aired in an alternate dimension? Somehow Palpatine returned? Okay, but how? Was there a backup Sith USB drive stashed on Exegol with his consciousness? Did he download himself into a Snoke vat and hit print? That's not storytelling. That's sci-fi Mad Libs with a budget. Then there's Rey. She's nobody. Wait, no, she's a Palpatine. But also she's all the Jedi. But she trains for like 10 minutes on a jungle planet with a robot that shoots tennis balls. And somehow that's enough to master Force healing. Duel Kylo Ren. Survive Palpatine's Sith lightning overdose. And still have time to adopt the Skywalker name like it's a stage name for Jedi idol. And somehow, Snoke was a thing. He shows up all wrinkly and smug, like he matters. Then Kylo slices him in half, and we all thought, wow, bold move, plot twist. Nope. Turns out he was just a failed science experiment with Wi-Fi access to Palpatine's voice modulator. Somehow Snoke was disposable. And somehow that didn't destroy the entire First Order chain of command overnight. And what about the First Order? How do you build an entire military-industrial complex that spans the galaxy? In secret, with no Senate oversight, no supply chain issues. No one asking why every Star Destroyer now has a Death Star glued to the bottom. It's like Amazon Prime for fascism, let's just say it. Nothing about the sequel trilogy feels earned. It's all just narrative duct tape holding together a broken outline. Finn starts out as a brainwashed stormtrooper with a conscience. Cool premise. Then somehow he's cracking jokes, leading resistance missions, and yelling Rey like it's the only word he remembers. It's like the writers got bored of developing him halfway through. Maz Kanata literally says, "That's a story for another time." When asked how she got Luke's lightsaber, spoiler alert, that time never came. Imagine Yoda saying that about the Clone Wars, and just never bringing it up again. It's not mystery, it's avoidance. And the sequels are filled with moments like that, where the setup is all tease and the payoff is nada. Let's talk about hyperspace. In the original trilogy, jumping to lightspeed required calculations, routes, consequences. Now characters are pulling hyperspace jumps out of their pockets like spare change. Poe literally light speeds through planets in Rise of Skywalker, because apparently physics is optional if the plot needs a shortcut. The Resistance somehow knows everything at the perfect moment. Like they just subscribed to a galactic spoiler alert system. They show up on time, find old Sith temples with 0 directions, crack ancient Jedi texts nobody else could read, and heal mortal wounds on cue. Because the story always bends around them instead of making them struggle through it. It's kind of heartbreaking, because under all the confusion and chaos, you can still see the bones of something meaningful. Luke Skywalker, our childhood hero, is turned into a jaded hermit who drinks alien milk and thinks the Jedi should end. That's not bold, that's cruel. We didn't need him to be perfect. But we didn't need him to be a ghost before he was dead either. Han and Leia's reunion doesn't feel like a triumphant spark reigniting. It feels like 2 co-workers who used to date, awkwardly avoiding eye contact, Their son is a mass murderer, and they barely talk about it. Han dies trying to save him. Leia dies doing something. And Ben dies 5 minutes after turning good. They gave us the original trio back, only to tear them apart without payoff. Carrie Fisher deserved better. Leia was supposed to be the heart of this trilogy, but by Rise of Skywalker, her scenes are patchwork and hollow, using old footage like a cinematic Frankenstein just to say she was there. It's not legacy, it's damage control. And it hurts to watch, knowing what she meant to this galaxy. Even the new characters suffer. Finn had a chance to explore what it means to break free from indoctrination. Poe had the makings of a charismatic, conflicted leader, but instead they get sidelined or reshaped to fit whatever story they decided on that day. Their arcs aren't arcs, they're zigzags drawn in crayon. And through it all, there's a sense of loss. Not just of characters or moments, but of meaning. The sequels didn't just fail to stick the landing, they never learned to take off. And watching them stumble through nostalgia while forgetting the soul of Star Wars feels like watching someone else play dress-up with your favorite memories. But here's the weird part. Even with all the chaos and contradictions, some moments still hit you like a Star Destroyer to the chest. The throne room fight in The Last Jedi looks incredible. Rey and Kylo slicing through Praetorian guards like a tag team from Force Heaven. It doesn't make sense narratively, but it's a visual feast that makes you lean in. The first flight of the Millennium Falcon in The Force Awakens. That was pure magic. You feel the music swell, the camera whip around those broken Star Destroyers, and for a split second, it felt like coming home. J.J. Abrams knows how to create those emotional fireworks, even if the script forgets to light the fuse. Say what you want about the Holdo maneuver, but watching a ship tear through a fleet in complete silence was haunting and beautiful. It broke all the rules, but it did it in style, and for one moment the entire theater went silent with it. That's power, even if the lore has to pay for it later. There's still something to salvage, even in the wreckage of the Somehow saga. Fans have picked up the pieces, writing better arcs in comics, novels, and even fan films. The story of Finn as a Jedi, the return of Luke through Grogu's eyes. All of it proves that Star Wars is too big to be broken forever. Characters like Rey still matter. Even if her path was rushed and rewritten, she represents the idea that anyone, regardless of bloodline, can rise to greatness. Even if the films didn't earn that payoff, fans have embraced it, expanded it, turned it into something worth exploring again. And despite the mess, the sequels inspired a new generation. Kids don't see plot holes, they see lightsabers, and legends, and a galaxy worth dreaming about. That's what Star Wars has always been. Not flawless, but formative. And no amount of somehows can erase the spark it gives to someone discovering it for the first time. New creators have already taken the baton. Andor showed us what grounded storytelling in Star Wars can look like. The Mandalorian reminded us that smaller stories can still carry the soul of a galaxy. Jedi Survivor proved there's room for depth and emotion in this world, even when the films stumble. And maybe that's the real legacy here. Not the mistakes, but the resilience. Star Wars doesn't stop because one trilogy tripped over itself. It keeps evolving, growing, reclaiming its voice. And if nothing else, that galaxy far, far away still has hope written into every star. In the end, the Star Wars sequels didn't fail because of a single bad choice. They failed because they replaced storytelling with spectacle, logic with shortcuts, character with convenience. Somehow became the answer to everything. And when everything is a somehow, nothing really matters anymore. We watched heroes become hollow, villains become vague, and storylines dissolve into digital fog. The sequel trilogy could have been a generational epic, a chance to pass the torch with meaning instead. It became a collage of cool moments, strung together by wishful thinking and studio panic. The tragedy isn't that the sequels exist, it's that they had all the ingredients, and still cooked up something hollow. Every missed opportunity echoes louder with time, and every forced twist feels like it robbed us of the real journey these characters deserve to have. But here's the resolution. It's not over. Star Wars is still being written every day, by fans, by games, by shows. By people who remember that the Force will be with you means something more than flashy powers and blue lightning. It means legacy, connection, purpose. Thank you for watching the whole video. I make videos because of my love for Star Wars and Marvel. I've been asked countless times how I get my subtitles, and I generate them automatically with a tool I built. That same tool can be used here on my website. It's completely free and doesn't require signing up. My website contains the subtitle generator that is perfect for any video. Blogging post, where you can sign up with your email and receive notifications for when I post, and also my 3 channels. Critical Analysis Hub focuses on Star Wars and Marvel movies. Critical Analysis Hub Plus looks at Star Wars and Marvel shows. And Critical Analysis Hub XP centers on video games, like The Last of Us series, Jedi Survivor, and GTA 5. Thank you for being a fan.